Well, hello there. Let me fix my shirt. And welcome to another Drake Council on Aging tutorial. It's an art tutorial. And I am Joan Turner, the resident artist at Drake Council on Aging. And today, I'm trying to say how to hold the canvas. Today, we're going to do this picture. How exciting is that? One of my Bradford students found this picture online and was like, I want to do this. I want to do this. And she's actually in her 80s and kind of housebound at this point. But her and there's three generations of that family that have been taking art lessons here. So now that she's kind of housebound, I go there. I go there twice a month and do an art house call. And she's like, I want to do this. And I'm like, so don't I. That's absolutely beautiful. So I figured you guys might want to do it also. So you will need this picture and you can maybe get a snapshot of it here, wherever you're watching this from, whether it be a YouTube channel or DCOA, Drake It Access TV cable run over there and is very awesomely putting them and scheduling them on Drake It Access TV. You can also get them on the Drake It Council on Aging newsletters, either in hard copy. My phone is ringing. Um, you can get them either in hard copy or you can get them online. The newsletters are online. Okay. But you should have a copy of this nearby. Okay. You should also have your glasses if you need them. You will need palettes, which I am using paper plates. You will need brushes, small, medium, and large brushes, which will come with your DCOA art kits if you do not already have them. Or you may even have your own by now, adding to them. We talked a little bit last time about getting acrylic paints at the dollar store and adding to your collection a little bit. They have all different colors here, and just make sure they say acrylic on them. Wait, I can do this. There we go. And my camera shows the opposite of where I really actually am. But you guys are seeing me the right way. So there's a lot of different things there. This is another one. See, I did that right this time. All right. So you can actually begin to add to your own collection, certainly, of brushes and paints, relatively inexpensively. Now, a caveat here, you're kind of getting what you pay for. They're acrylic paints. They're a little bit on the thin side. Um, if you're really getting into your painting, acrylic paints, Amsterdam, good brands, Premier, Basic, okay, Artist all really good names for student paints. And again, you can just use the Drake Council on Aging is giving out art kits, right, which have paint in them and brushes and canvases and or canvas boards. This is a canvas board. It's on the thin side. It's canvas paper that's glued onto the back of like a hard board. Okay. The difference between that and a stretched canvas. A stretched canvas is canvas. This is the last one we did. Okay, is canvas that's stretched over a wooden frame and then just kind of stapled on the back. Try not to get the ones that are stapled on the sides. Get the ones that are stapled on the back. They have artist grade canvases, which the difference is they're usually thicker and they may have like an extra coat of gesso on them. Gesso is the white coating that you see on the canvases and just helps the paint adhere to the canvas more. Okay, but like I said, if you're getting them on your own, you need that kind of information. If not, you just pick them right up at Drake Council on Aging. They do have a limited number, and so you kind of want to get them relatively early. The most important thing of all, of course, is that you have your hot cocoa nearby. Ooh, it is hot. Okay, palettes, blah, blah. Okay, to do this picture, you will need paint. You will need, you will need paper towels, which I just dropped on the floor. So I have plenty of paper towels nearby. You will also need blue paint. You will need yellow paint. You'll need white and black paint, which comes in the kits. Yellow, red, and blue come in your DCOA kits. All right, if you're adding to your own, have your own paint, some orange. Some orange. If you do not have orange on your own, mixing yellow and red will give you orange. You will need green, which is blue and yellow if you're having just primary colors. Okay, so you always need the primary colors, red, yellow, blue, and then some white and black. White kind of lightens the color and highlights it, and we do have some whites and lights in here. And black will kind of gray them or make them darker, certainly. And we're going to use brown for the tree in here. If you do not have brown, you will need to mix red and green. All right. So we need, and it's a good idea to, if you are using secondary colors and you don't have your own and you're needing to mix them, put them in like a container. Mix them ahead of time. Okay, and put them like in a little container. These are little salad dressing containers. Anything that you can cover or tighten, make it kind of airtight. Make some green ahead of time, which again is yellow and blue. So then you'll have a container of green. Mix some orange ahead of time, which is yellow and red. So you'll have some ahead of time. You can mix them right there on the spot, and that's always a cool thing to do too. But if you want to just kind of have some on hand, mix them ahead of time and kind of save them. Um, that way, if you want to make brown, you can mix some of your red and green, and you'll end up with brown. Red and blue makes purple. So and if you don't know how to make those colors, get a color wheel or look up, just Google color wheel and image of a color wheel, and you'll see what colors make what and whether they're primary colors, tertiary colors, secondary colors. Tertiary colors would be something like brown because you would need to mix a secondary color first, which would be yellow and blue. So you would get green. And so green would be the secondary color. And you'd have to mix red with the green to get brown. Brown is tertiary color because you needed to mix it 3 times. So let's get beyond that boring stuff and on to the fun stuff. Okay. So let me see. I think we have everything. The other thing I always want to make sure to tell you is that acrylic paints, once they dry, they become permanent. And I did treat this with the spray first, so a lot of my paint came out, which is pretty cool. So while the paint is wet, if you get it on your table, if you get it on your floor, if you get it on your clothes, you can pretty well get it out with some warm water and soap. Once it dries, it becomes permanent. So even though this shirt and pants and stuff have been bleached a number of times, the color is permanent. Okay? The only exception to that I have found is on plastic. So if you get it on plastic, you can kind of peel it off of there. But cover tables, floors, anything that you don't want to get paint on permanently. Okay, my darlings, are you ready? I am. I'm very excited about this picture. I've been wanting to do it for a longola time. So today's the day. I'm going to use a canvas to do this, a canvas board, and more specifically, and I think this is a 12 by 16. In your art kits, I think you have 16 by 20s, 12 by 9s, or maybe have 16 by 12s. I'm not really sure, but you can actually paint on any size, okay? So any size canvas that you have, you could paint on a board, you could paint on a piece of wood, you could paint on 300 pound watercolor paper, which, you probably want to stick with a canvas or a piece of wood. Okay, these are cotton swabs. I always keep one kind of nearby in case I get a spot on there I don't want. So I just take it off really, really soon. These cotton swabs have a pointed edge on one side because they are cosmetic cotton swabs, and people use them to apply their makeup with them. So they're not in their store, they're the part of the store that has cotton swabs. They're in the cosmetic department of like CVS, Walgreens, anything like that. Maybe even like Walmart or something. Who knows? But they're in with the cosmetics. They're not in with the drug stuff. Okay. So I'm going to start off with white. When we're doing our background, we always do, whenever we're doing an acrylic picture, whether it's in oils or acrylics, you just start from the back forward. So we're going to put this background on, and you're going to see in this background, glasses, that it's not just a plain white background. Okay, there is some, if you look really close at this, all this blue over here is actually leaves on the tree. All right, so the sky is a combination of it does have some of this blue on here, but there's some whites and oranges going on here. This is a very dark kind of navy blue color going on. Okay. So let's put a bit of, before we do that, let's do our moon. Let's make our moon, give ourselves a guideline for moon, which means pencil, graphite pencil, watercolor pencil, whatever you have, but we're just not going to do it dark because it definitely is a guideline. We don't want it to show up in our finished drawing or painting. So I'm going to go get a pencil. You go get one. Okay, pencil. Ta-da, little graphite pencil. And we would like to find where where the horizon line is. The horizon line is where the earth meets the sky. All right, and in this picture, it's way down here. See where this highlight is? It's way over here. So 1, 3, 4, 5. It's about 5/4 of the way down is the sky. Right. So just guess, and depending on the size of your canvas or canvas board, just kind of guess where that bottom is. You're gonna guess that mine is right about here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a pretty good guess, right? So my horizon line is right about there. Okay, so about a fifth. Right? A fifth of the way up the canvas or 4/5 down the canvas, however your heart desires. So there's my horizon line, okay? And again, it's just a guess here, right? Ta-da! So the reason that I need to know that is because I need to know where my moon is going, okay? So also, depending on what size canvas you have, and now that I'm thinking about it, stop, Ari, stop the presses. I was holding my canvas this away. Wonder if I want to hold it this away, which I think I will. All right, so I'm going to hold my canvas vertically instead of horizontally, I believe. Do I want to? I think so, because this tree is going to come up here. It's going to come this way, that way. So it's kind of a, let's, let's hold it vertically, okay? Which means I still need a fifth. Okay, so I'm holding my canvas this way instead of this way. Okay, so I still need a fifth of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I'm bringing my line here this way. Okay, this way. So just ignore that vertical line for now. So a fifth is right there. And now I got to figure out where I want my moon. And depending on how big your canvas is, you want your moon to be, figure out just about where halfway is. And again, I'm just eyeballing it. Okay, so there's my halfway line right here. Okay, here's my halfway line here. So my moon is just to the left of center and just below my halfway line. So if that's halfway that way and that's halfway this way, so the moon is just about halfway. It might be a little over. So now you could definitely just eyeball it and draw it. But I'm going to look like for a cap or something round. Okay, this cap looks pretty good. Here, I'm gonna see my halfway is here and here. This looks pretty good to me. So I'm gonna use that cap and I'm gonna draw around it. Can you see that better? Okay, so I'm using this to make my moon. I'm holding it up in the air while I'm doing this. Okay, so there's my moon. Okay, let's reposition here. So we're going to start by putting our white and our blue out for the background. So again, this background has, let's start with some of the really dark blue back here. So I am going to take my blue and you take your blue and peel off anything if it's dried over there. Let's pull it off of there. If you have any dried paint hanging around. I'm going to put some on my plate and I might have put a bit much. No one can say I'm stingy in my old age. Okay. And because I want it to be kind of a really dark blue, I'm going to add a little black to it. So here's my little black, and I have to say it's a little black because that is running out of paint. I'm trying to get my phone out of my pocket. Okay, there it goes. All right, so I'm going to take my black paint, hopefully, and let's point this down here so you can see what I'm doing. All right, you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to take some of this black paint, at least I hope I am. Let's see if any left in there. Hard to tell because, oh, look at that success. Hard to tell because the container has a black front, and so you kind of don't know how much paint is in there. Okay, never mind, Joan. Okay, so it's a good idea to keep your source document nearby. So I'm going to do that. And I am going to paint, before I start painting, I'm going to put a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow, some orange, because I'm going to do this whole background here. So some orange. Might as well just have it all out there. Okay. There's a little bit of orange. And I shall need to replenish these paints eventually. Some yellow and some white. Okay. So let's grab a little bit of yellow. Okay, this color wants to come right off. Yellow. And then put some white on here. And I have some, this is called Craft Smart, and it's a gallon of acrylic white paint. You obviously do not need to have an entire gallon unless you're doing a lot of painting, like some people. And I'm going to put, the reason I'm taking this pump out of here is because the paint is actually dried inside the pump. Okay, give myself some white. Okay. So, people want to know how I get so dirty? This would be why. All right, so some fried flakes just kind of came out of my plate here. So, hindsight being what it is, I think I would go probably not buy another gallon of white, but a smaller, like maybe a half gallon, something on that idea. If you do a lot of painting, what typically happens is that the paint gets dry around the edges, and then I get these little kind of chips in the paint and have to pull them out and whatnot. Okay, so while I was doing that, I was thinking, let me get another palette. Okay, so maybe I'll have my colors here and use this one for mixing. Okay, so I'm going to do the background. I want to get it nice and smooth in here, so I'm going to use my big brush. See if we can get a little bit better view here. Okay, and I'm kind of painting this way. So positioning the camera is always a challenge here. Okay, I want you to not only see this, I want you to see the paints and how I'm mixing them as well. Okay, so again, I'm going to start with the darker blue, the dark, at least the whatever blue you have. All right, I'm going to take most of it. I'm going to leave a little bit still in the dish, and then I'm going to take some of the black. Okay. And again, this is because I want this to be a nice, deep, rich, bluish, blackish color. Let's see here. Can you see that? Okay. So this is blue, but it's almost, I don't know, you could say a black blue, but I can see in my plate that it is blue. Okay, it's a very dark hue or very dark value of blue. Okay, so I want to get it up in this corner up here. Okay. Oh, talk about nice and dark. There we go. All right. So I'm also going to put some down here. All right. Again, I think it's worth repeating because I kind of repeat it in every video here. If I'm going too fast for you, slow down the recording, halt it, pause it, do whatever you need to do in order to catch up. All right. And the other thing I want to say is that if I'm going too slow for you, which absolutely does happen, don't go ahead of me. Try to wait. All right. Now I know you're impatient, but try to wait because if you get too far ahead of me, then if we finally get to that point and you maybe should have done something different there, it's difficult to kind of go back and fix it. So I'm dipping into my yellow with a clean brush and putting that over here because that's what I'm seeing And then without cleaning my brush, I'm going to dip into the white and bring some white in over here. Okay, and I'm kind of avoiding my blue at this point. Okay, but not for long. Okay, I'm going to dip into my orange and bring my orange here like this, kind of around my moon. Okay, be careful around your moon. We don't want it to get out of round too much. I'm going to come about halfway down here, right? So right now, kind of looks like I'm having fun but making a mess, which it could be said that I do that. Okay. So I'm going to dip into my yellow because I want to merge my yellow and my orange like this. I'm actually going to pick up a little bit of white and put that in here. This is a very multicolored background here. So don't be afraid to kind of play around a little bit with what's going on back here. I'm thinking more blue down here. Okay, and I didn't clean off my brush. So as I'm coming up here, I'm getting a merge of color, okay, which is not a bad thing. Where's There we go. There we go. Okay, so kind of keep an eye here so that you know where you want to go and what you want to do. And if you end up going places you don't necessarily want to go, let that be okay too. Okay. So again, I want to get around this moon. And if you get a little bit of color on your moon, don't worry about it, baby, because we can prime it, reprime it with the white, certainly. So not a big deal if that happens to you. Okay, and it just happened to me. As you can see, my moon is a little bit out of round here now, but we're not going to flip out about it. We're going to do it to it. Okay. So now I have a bunch of different values and hues over here. I think I want to go a little bit orangey down here. I'm going to clean off my brush without putting it in the water, which means that it's still going to have some of that darkish bluish color on there. But I'm going to go ahead and let that happen. Okay, I'm actually going to grab some of my blue over here. So now I'm really starting to merge my background a little bit. Okay, getting a little assertive here. All right, it's okay. We like it. Kind of cool, actually. So now I'm thinking I want to really brighten up this orange here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right here. Brighten up this orange. I'm going to pull a little of this white into my yellow. Okay, and orange. Woo-hoo-hoo. So I'm getting a nice bright orange in through here. I'm pulling my orange into my blue because, again, I'm looking for a little bit of a blend here. I don't necessarily want to see like a line, uh, like where my blue ends and my orange begins. So I just cleaned off my brush a little bit so that it's not really, doesn't have a lot of paint on it. Okay, gonna do it again. And of course, I'm doing this dry. Make sure you have lots of paper towels nearby. Okay, so I'm doing it kind of dry. I'm gonna dip into my white. Okay, so this, the paint is, acrylic paints as a rule dry relatively fast. So, so I'm working the background kind of fast because I'd like for it to blend like this, okay? See where you can see where this ends, that starts, so on and so forth. So I'm looking for a nice blend. So I'm kind of, as this starts to dry, I'm drying my brush, not putting a lot of pressure on the brush as I do this so that I can kind of blur the where it meets. Okay, so I'm really, really liking this area in here. So I'm going to go and work some more on this side. Okay, so I'm really liking the yellow in this orange color. So I'm going to work it a little bit more here. Okay, and I do want it to kind of rise up and meet these other colors here. Okay, so I'm going to come into my blue up here and not nice and neatly either. Okay, so we're starting to get a nice blend here, and this is so dark and awesome up here. Totally loving it. So I'm cleaning my brush so much that I think I just broke it. I heard it crack. Okay, so if they come off, just glue them back on. Use some super glue, glue them right back on. Okay, so I'm gonna. Oh, I did break it. Okay, so I'm doing this. If I think I have too much up there, I'm gonna dip in the blue. Okay, dip in my. Hey, I can't paint with this brush now. What it's doing is it's wiggling. Okay, so it actually, I'm gonna have to put it in the water. I don't throw them away unless I absolutely have to, because even if you cannot paint with them anymore, sometimes you can Mod Podge with them or varnish with them. So I try not to actually throw them away unless they're absolutely useless, okay, which also happens, but we won't call that quite yet. We won't call that useless quite yet. So I did switch to another brush that I had in the water. Okay, so I'm merging this line right here. Okay, let me do a little bit more. I'm going to take some of that blackish bluish color and just fuzz this line a little bit. Okay, because actually I would like them to really kind of blend right into each other. So let's try a little bit more orange. Okay, so definitely orangey blue here. Okay, and remember that if you mix uh, red and green together, you end up with a kind of brown. So orange is a mixture of yellow and red, so it does have some red in it. Blue, you to get green, you're mixing blue and yellow. So what's ended up happening here is I'm getting like a weird color because there's a mixture of primary, secondary, tertiary, and probably quadrupleary or whatever that word might be, mixing it that much. Okay, but I'm going to actually dip into my white here just because this little area in here maybe could use a little bit of brightening up. Yeah, that looking pretty good, Joni. Okay, going back into my blue. Okay, just because of that little line there. Okay, I'm getting excited. I have been wanting to work on this picture for so long, and I'm just like loving the way it's coming out already. Okay, because I was like so ready to do this. All right, dipping again into my blue. Okay, I'm getting a very light blue here because my brush is pretty ding dang dirty. Right, so I actually have three um, bowls of water here. Okay, so obviously, if I didn't tell you, make sure you have water. So in my three bowls of water, because I don't want to take the time out to clean the bowls because I am doing this tutorial, I usually in the first bowl do like the first swish and that gets like the most paint off of it. And then I have a second bowl, which I swish again, and the water is a teensy bit lighter. But I am going to clean this in between because this blue is such a it's such a strong color that see it's still coming out blue here. So I'm wiping off excess, going into my third bowl, which is supposed to be my nice clear water, which is now turning blue. And when your brush comes clean here, then you know you have all the paint off of it. And I clearly do not. It's still coming out blue. And that's how you can tell. I'm going to go with that because I think having that little bit of blue on the brush will actually help me blend this in. Because again, I'm looking for a nice blend of color here. All right. The other thing we can do is put this in the water and just get a different brush. Okay. So if you've been doing art for a very long time, you probably have a whole bunch of different brushes and you can just kind of do this. And like I said, this is kind of in an attempt to not spend a lot of time cleaning the brushes and spending more time doing the painting. Okay. So again, I'm kind of really excited here. Okay, so I'm really, by putting in yellow in here, I'm really brightening up. And I got so excited, I used all my yellow. So I'm going to give myself a little bit more yellow. Okay, I'm peeling off the dry paint. Giving myself some more yellow. Right? So here's my yellow, dipping into the yellow, just because I really want this orange to really glow at me. So a little bit of white over here, and I still have yellow on my brush, so I am overlapping my moon a tad. Going back with the yellow, dabbing in this yellow again. Oh my God, that is so exciting. Da, 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 da. Okay, sorry. I'll behave. Okay, so dipping into my white and not cleaning off my brush, I'm going to go ahead and straighten out my moon. And the fact that there's a little bit of yellow on the brush is actually helping my moon. Okay, I was going to flip it over, but maybe I'm going to wait. Okay, go really slow around the edges of your moon because you don't want goofy edges of the moon. Whoever created it with nice edges. Ah, very cool. Okay, so I'm going to pick it up by the bottom and whip it this way. I'm going to dip just a tad into my orange and continue creating this moon. Now, we should not be seeing any graphite. You should not be seeing any guidelines here at all. All right, take your time, get it right. You are the creator. This is your masterpiece. Okay, let's go right around here, like so. Okay, I'm working from inside the moon, not from the outside. So I'm not painting out here trying to do it. I'm on the inner part of my moon. Okay, that's where you want to be. And get those, if your hand is not steady, put your hand, rest one hand like this, put the other hand on it and just rest it. Just go really nice and slow, especially around those edges. Okay, so now let's do this part. Okay, dipping back into the yellow to give it a little bit of a yellow hue. Dipping into the orange, give it a little orange hue. Okay, and there's so much white on my moon these yellows and oranges. Just really merge right in. And what they're doing for me is making a really pale, pale moon that's not a crisp white, which not wanting a crisp white moon. Okay, it's taken me a while to get my edges good, but you will find it totally, totally worth it to get your edges in good. Okay, I'm going with my orange in here and just kind of getting some orange tones. And I'm looking here, by the way, to kind of see where do I want those to be. Okay, so a little bit in through here, going back into my yellow, yellow, you say hello. Okay, so while that's doing its thing, while it's percolating a little bit over there, I'm going to not do that. Okay, what I want to do is see how this edge is kind of nice and blended over here. I wanted to do something similar here. So I'm going to take my brush, okay, and I'm going to fix around the edge of my moon while I have this little brush out. Okay, so if you're doing the, excuse me, the same thing, just be careful and see how I'm supporting my hand. Okay, support your hand. Maybe you don't see how I'm supporting my hand. All right, let's move you over. Okay, so I'm resting this hand here and this hand on top of it. Okay. Once again, just kind of, I have some of my canvas showing here. So I just want to kind of cover her up. All right, let's switch brushes once again. If you think that I go through a lot of the tones, you would be correct. And I'm sure my UPS driver knows it too because he delivers them by the case to my house. Okay. Okay, I'm getting now. This paint is very dry here. Let me see. So if you're already ahead of me here, hold on a second. Okay, so now I'm going to have to round out my moon yet again. Okay, I can handle it. All right, so this in here is what I first was kind of coming after before I got waylaid by these little guys over here. All right, so when students, this might be worth mentioning, when students make a mistake, because their tendency is to kind of panic. Oh my God, I ruined it. Um, Acrylics, oils, these are very opaque paints and they're very forgiving. So it's like, in fact, if you do make a mistake, you can just kind of let it dry and paint over it. Okay. So over here, I'd like to merge this into the orange a little bit more. So I'm going to take a little bit of white in here and just kind of do this. I'm going to clean my brush and take a little bit of orange and put it up here. Okay, and now going back into the white a tad. All right, so I'm going to let that kind of mix that up a bit right on the canvas. Okay. Gonna get a little bit more orange in here. A little bit more white in here. Let's let all that good stuff dry a little bit. Let's go back to our moon for a few seconds. Now that it's sort of drying in there, put a little bit more yellow here. Okay. Going to fix my little boundary here a little bit because when I was doing my blue, I took it out round again. So let's just fix that. Let me see. Where are my little, okay. This is a good time to use one of these. Okay, I'm going to put it in the cleanest bowl of water I have. I'm just going to clean this little spot off right there. Also, while this is wet, I'm going to use this to kind of blend over here a little bit because I really, really want that to work out. Let's see here. All right, getting there. Okay, so bear with me, kids. Okay, I want to come all the way up here. That looks mucho better. Let's get in there with some. And I'm not cleaning the brush at this point because I really, really want the blue and the orange to merge together. Okay, I'm going to take the clean end of this Q-tip and do that. So I get a little bit of a merger through here. Okay, that looks better already. So I'm going to take my small brush once again, dip it into a little bit of yellow. Okay, so my yellow can merge over here, and this is going to take care of and blend this section. So now there's not a hard line there, more of a blended line, and matches that a little bit more on here. Let's get a little yellow right here. Okay. So I'm really, truly excited about that background. It looks extremely cool to me. While I have the white and orange and cool stuff like that on my brush, I'm going to go ahead and do my highlight in the water. Okay, and at this point is just kind of an indication of where that is. I want to come a little bit closer so you can see it. So if the moon is like right here, I'm going to go like this and create this V shape. You see it? You see it? Okay, so let's just do that for now. Okay, and make sure when you're looking at it, you highlight in the right place. You would be totally amazed at where people put these highlights. Okay, one person had it like over here, another one over here. And I'm like, all right, that's good, that's good. We're gonna have, oh, 2 moons. I should have thought about that. We could put a double moon in there. Be an alien landscape. That would work. Okay, I'm gonna pick up a little bit of orange, kind of drag it down the sides here. Drag it, drag it, drag it. Okay. Come back into the white, make sure it's straight. I mean, at least have it lined up so it's under the moon. Okay, so now still letting dry a little bit more. I think I'm gonna put a little white on here. And actually, there's orange and white on my brush. So I thought this would be a good time to go ahead and do that, which it is. Oh, let's take a cocoa break, please. Cocoa. Mm-hmm. Gotta have those cocoa breaks. Okay, now, now that this is looking also very cool here, let's go ahead and we need green on the bottom. Now, again, you can either mix green, you could have some pre-mixed green, whatever it is. Okay, now I just dipped my brush in both colors and came out with this green. Right? And we want this to kind of be a greenish bluish and an aqua kind of color here. Okay, so I'm doing my little horizon line. Okay, and let me see if I can come in a little closer for you. And I want to meet that, I want to meet my highlight here. So here's my bottom. Okay, so I don't want to get the top messed up. So let me see here. Okay, so I had some blue on my brush. I put some yellow on my brush. All right, so I'm getting this kind of bluish and aqua color here, which is really cool. Really liking it. And kind of dragging it a little bit to my highlight. Okay, kind of liking that, liking it. It could be a deeper green, which if you're mixing your own means a little bit more blue in there. Okay, and this would give me a little bit deeper green going on here, which looks pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to just take some blue and just kind of drag it through here. And remember that my canvas, this paint, I'm trying to work it wet, right? So I'm going to take this here and bring it here. Ugh. Okay, let's move some of this stuff out of the way so you can actually see it. Okay, so putting more yellow. So you can, if you're using a green paint, obviously, you can add to that green paint. All right, you can add a blue to it if you want it to be more blue. You could add a brown to it if you want it to be more brown. Okay, I'm kind of liking this color. And it is kind of very green. Let's put a little bit more yellow in here. Okay, and I want you to be able to see it. Okay, so that looks kind of cool in there. Let's get this. I want to cover over here. My highlight wants to end right there. So let's bring this over just a tad. Right, liking it. And I've raised this side a little bit because I raised that one. So I absolutely need to raise this side. Okay. That's good. That is mighty good. All right, I like it. Okay, so I'm going to take some of this really dark that I mixed here. And it's really actually quite, it could be a little bit too dry already, but I can get a little on here. Okay, so I'm going to actually mix a little bit more. I'm going to take the blue and a little bit of black and mix it together so that I end up getting that very dark up here again. And I want to put it way down in this corner. Okay, now what would be the purpose for doing that? Okay, so from an artistic point of view, okay, having the dark down here and the dark up here, just even out some of my strokes here, makes the eye, it's kind of going like this and this. Your eye is always kind of drawn to the darker values and then kind of moves around the canvas looking for what else is on there. What else is going on that's interesting here? Okay, so if I put some dark down there, that's going to serve serve me well. So I'm going to put this nice and dark here. Okay, picking up a little bit of yellow because now I want to come towards my highlight. Okay, into my highlight here. Okay, liking it. Okay, cleaning off my brush. You would not believe how blue this water is. It's actually a really pretty blue, but it just goes to show how much paint. The blue is a strong color. Um, Different colors you use, some are going to be stronger than others, and so they really, you use up a lot of water. It's a good idea to clean your water if you are using really strong colors. Okay, I'm going to dip back into my white here, all right, and I'm going to sit this a little bit better on here so I can actually work on this highlight. Okay, and remember your highlight wants to be under your moon here. So there we go. Okay, I'm gonna raise this highlight a little bit because I raised the whole waterline here. Right, so I'm actually very lightly pushing my brush past my boundaries here. This one maybe a little not so. Okay, so that I start to get this little bit of highlight going on. All right, so look at look. Ah! So like I say, panic not. All right, so I cleaned it off with my hand actually. Okay, but it is important to me that you be able to see it. So worth a little mishap every now and then, now and again. All right, so let me say once again, I dipped just a little bit of my brush into the orange. And now I'm going to work these edges again. Okay, get my orange back in here a little bit. Okay, here goes nothing. Okay, so here we go. Okay, a little bit of orange on the sides, a little bit of yellow going on down here, and then some more yellow going on over there. All right, liking it. Okay, let's do this. Let's dip into our white. Okay, and the brush is not loaded. It's just enough to. I just want to drag some of this orange and yellow back and forth a little bit, so it's in my highlight. Okay, let's make sure we're straight. Good job, Johnny. Okay, so that's a pretty neat highlight. So I'm going to just drag a little bit more back and forth here. So my highlight is actually going to be like the same color as my moon, except that it's going to have a little bit of the water color into it. And way up here at the top, we're actually going to put just some pure white in here, okay, which is going to mix a little bit with some of the colors that are in the water, but that's okay. Okay. So what I would like to do is just going to clean my fingerprint over here. All right, so it might be a good idea to actually go clean your hands, but because I don't want this to dry really, really fast, I'm going to turn this over here, and I want to do this part of the highlight here, which means we're getting back into that kind of watery look down here. I'm kind of closing off my highlight a little bit. Okay, so I'm holding the brush on the side like this, dipping into my color, which in this case is yellow and blue. Okay, and pulling it sideways, pulling sideways. All right, see, look, nice. Let's go the other way. All right, so once again, dipping into the yellow and blue that I created, and it's coming out kind of green, using the straight edge of my brush. Okay, I'll pick up a little bit more yellow here, drag it through. Okay, and I'm going to get some some lines going way past. I'm putting practically no pressure on my brush here. Just want to drag a little bit of color through the rest of my water. Okay. I like it, liking it. All right, let me see here. I'm going to push a little here, push a little there. Right, I want a little bit more white down and through here. So I'm using just the white over here. However, like I say, there's already paint on this water. So we're definitely getting some of the other colors in here. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put just a little bit of white down here. We're just kind of rippling a little bit. And actually, let's go ahead and if you need to stop and clean your brush, stop and clean your brush. And I'm just going to get a clean brush here and put a little bit of white down here. Okay, and then another little bit right down here. And some more little bits of white over here. Some in through here, like this, kind of down through the middle. I drag a little this way, a little that way. And because I'm dragging every which way here, I'm going to say, be careful about overdoing things. Okay, so let's go this way with this one. And I'm going to pull this way here. And again, I'm using the very side of the brush here. I'm not flattening out the brush. All right, so I want to kind of pull that this way. So again, take a time out a little bit. Ooh, scared myself. Take a little bit of a time out and check it out a little bit from a distance. From a distance, you look like my feet. Okay, I think we want to sing today. Sometimes songs stay in my head. And a lot of times when I'm painting, I'll turn the radio on, but because this is a tutorial, we're going to keep the radio off so that you can hear me. And I know that when my head is turned away from the speaker, sometimes it cuts out a little bit. So I apologize for that. I know I'm not like the best videographer here, but I try really hard. Okay, okay. I'm so excited. All right, so I want to put in some of this texture on my moon. All right, so these are oranges, yellows, and you can see some brown here. And when you mix brown and orange together, you come out with a terracotta or a sienna. Okay, so when people say sienna brown or, you know, because orange is considered a relatively warm color, like yellow is warm, whites, blues, the kind of wintry colors, those are on the cooler side. Okay, so I have a little bit of brown here, and so brown is a stronger color than orange. So I am going to put the orange first and then add the brown to it a little at a time. Okay, so this is what I'm ending up with, that kind of terracotta color. Okay, and then I'm going to really look at this, right, and just put some texture on my moon here. Okay, there's some really dark areas here. I'm going to get the lighter areas. And actually, I was going to say maybe I need to even mix a little bit more paint here because this is, my moon is just tacky wet. So it's just kind of enough to push the paint in here. But I actually would like it to be even a little darker. But before I do that, see this kind of reddish orangey? All right, I'm going to add a little bit, even more orange to it, and do like this part over here. And this actually comes all the way to the edge a little bit, comes down here. Okay, so we're going to play around a little bit with some of this. Okay, this I'm going to go right into my orange 4 and just blend a little bit of orange in there. Okay, so we're starting to get that kind of moon look. We're looking for a moon look. Let's put you here, apparently. Okay, so orange. I want down on here a little bit more orangey and a little orangey white is going to go way up here through here. Let's do a little bit more over here. Kind of comes to my edge a little bit over here, and actually quite a bit around the bottom, doesn't it? Okay, so remember to work from inside the moon. Don't try to paint it this way. Okay, if you have to, turn it upside down, okay, and turn the source document upside down. And this way, you will keep your moon shape good. If you're trying to do it this way, you're going to go over it. Okay, so while I have you upside down, do this. So we're starting to get a really cool. All right, I'm going to take. I get to. All right, so here's my orange, and actually that orange is starting to dry out a little bit. So maybe I need more orange on here. Let's see what you look like. Oh yeah, we need a little bit more orange
here. So let's take our orange. They make really weird sounds when they start getting to the ends of the tube, which thrills the children to no end. Oh, it's farting, and they start laughing, and it's a really cool. The kids really get a kick out of it. Okay, let's come all the way down here over here. I'm actually going to pick up even a little bit more brown here. Let's come around here. Let's do a little over here. Do we want more around? Yeah, we do. Okay, let's get a little bit more around this edge. All right, and let's merge a little over here, a little over here. Okay, I think we might be ready to start turning this around. Let me do another little spot over here. Nice and nice. Okay, let's turn you around. Hopefully, my hands don't mess anything up. Okay, so here's our moon, all right? So we can see that we kind of need a lot more cool stuff going on over here. So let's go ahead, let's do it, all right? Don't be shy. Get your moon going. Get your moon on. All right, I'm actually going to pick up some yellow as well over here because we do want a little bit of shine going on, especially around this bottom, I think. Okay, a little bit more of the dark browns and through here. All right, and if you get too much dark brown on there, just mix some orange in with it. Okay, let's get you over here. Let's get some over here. Let's pull some this way. I'm gonna dip into my orange again. Okay, let's do a little bit more here. Okay, so now we're really getting a moon that has a lot of texture on it. Okay, let's go all the way here. Let's pull some orange in over here. Let's get a little orangey brownish stuff going on over here. Okay, and then we could use a little bit of yellow coming down here. Okay, so now we have quite a bit good stuff going on here, here. So I'm actually looking around the sides here to see where maybe I might need a little bit more color. Okay, I'm going to add a yellow here, a little bit of yellow there. And my yellow has a little bit of green in it, so we may need more yellow. Let's see here. Okay, so let's see. We could have a little darker down here. Let's go darker here, like this. And these kind of touch up here, don't they? And we have a little going on over here. So I'm actually looking at the dark parts, looking at the lighter parts. Where do I want this to go? And I'm going to dip my brush into the white now And you'll notice that I didn't clean this brush off because I don't want this to be pure white in here. I want it to kind of merge a little bit with what I have going on here already. And you can always put some white highlights on afterwards. But I am going to get a little bit more yellow out here. Okay, let's do a little yellow. Okay, dipping in my yellow and yellowing right around this edge here a little bit. Okay, and white and yellow gives us a nice highlight here and really makes our edges glow. Right, let's go back over here. I'm going back into the orange and brown. Okay, a little bit over here. That's a little bit lighter than what I wanted. Okay, so doing that, grabbing a little white and getting some highlight going on over here and here and there. Okay, so this is white and yellow in here. Okay, so it's not a pure white, but I actually want to get some white in there. All right, so this yellowy white is going to go over here. And I'm going to put some up here and over here. Okay, and some over here. Okay, so we want little dabs of white here and there where it's kind of showing through. I want this little tiny bit over here and maybe just a dab over there. Okay, so this is the moon, and this is what I have going on in my moon. All right, so I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and then I'm going to kind of put a whitish yellowish tint over the moon, okay, to kind of solidify all the different patches of color here. All right, so I'm going to just look at it a little bit more because I want to get some good stuff over here. Uh-huh. Okay, let's get a little over here. All right, so again, let's give that a little bit of time to dry. And let's start working on our trees and leaves here. Now, take a really close look at this. All right, there are trees here, and there's one here. There's a lot of little branches that kind of come off the top, and that's why it's kind of important for you to have a copy of this because some of it you can see really good. Some of it you might not be able to see really good because there's some branches coming here. There's also little shrubs and stuff down through here, which is kind of cool. This is our spot down here. And I wanted to fix. Okay. Let me see. So the problem with going back and fixing your spots, sometimes you make more work for yourself. You gotta fix your fix. Okay, so for our trees, you could use a like a white pencil and or a piece of chalk, and you could actually give yourself some guidelines for these trees. They are coming right from the bottom here. Okay, and coming up like this and this. So we want to, okay, so I can see like the really dark parts in here, sort of, kind of, very dark. Let me see. Okay, so if you don't have a white pencil, use a regular pencil because this only is actually only showing up in the darker areas of my picture. So I've just given myself an idea where does this stuff go. I think I will use a regular pencil up here, but I have part of my tree that's down here. So this, try not to make too many sketchy lines like your teacher is doing. Let me see if I can make less sketchy lines here. All right, that's this over to here. This can come down here. So I'm looking like where my moon is. It's over here. So I can actually go up here, I guess. All right, and like this. All right, so for this other tree, it's really close, and at the bottom they actually kind of touch. Right? And then if it doesn't go the way I'm showing you, then it is now. All right, I'm trying to behave. So actually, it just makes it more unique if you make it your very own. Okay? So I just want some trees up here. We want to see trees. Okay, and this one kind of goes up and off. Let's see here. Okay, let's go up and off. And then there's a lot of, like I say, branches that come this way, and they branch off like this way. They come across here. There's a lot of little tiny, tiny branches. So, and again, I just want to kind of stress that there isn't really a wrong way to do this. Okay, so there's more little branches that kind of come down this way and they go here, and they really doing all kinds of cool things over here. Some of them are crisscrossing. All right, so just to give yourself an idea of where everything is going. And now, let's say with a relatively small brush, all right, because you want to be able to see what you're doing, all right, and want to give us some guidelines. And if you've watched some of the other tutorials, you'll know that I make this very watery kind of white mixture just so I can kind of give myself guidelines so I can see where my trees, in this case, trees are going. All right, so I mixed a little bit of brown in this white here because I want it really, really loose, but I want to see exactly where these trees are going. All right, so whether you have good guidelines or you don't have good guidelines, we're going to create some trees. Right? So the thing that I want to do here is make sure that the edges are nice and smooth. And in tree bark, obviously, is not always smooth, but for this exercise, if we're going to have any rough edges, it's going to be because we put them in. Okay, so kind of whitish, brownish going on over here, just again, so I can see where my trees are going. Okay, where are they headed? So I do have some guidelines on here. So I'm covering my guidelines certainly, okay, because we don't want them. We don't want the guidelines to show in a finished picture. because they are truly just guidelines. Right, so here I have the start of a tree. Right, I'm going to go ahead and again water down the paint just a tad. I'm going to add a little brown to it, but I want to get a close look here if possible and put in this other tree, which like I said is pretty close to it and actually touching at the bottom. Okay, so let's do this. And I'm going to pick up a little bit more brown in here. Keep my edges clean. Right. I'm going to get this edge, which I'm not totally convinced that this is the type of tree that's on there because it is pretty dark. You might even have a lighter picture, better picture. Okay, but I'm going to go with this. Right. This one actually wants to be a little bit thicker, thicker here. Okay, so I have this tree which really kind of branches off over here. Okay, and this guy is kind of connected to it in a funny, knobby way. So let's put that on there. This one comes down here and comes up here. Then just kind of forks off over here. Forks off again over there. Okay, so at this point, you don't want to do any finished work, all right? We just want to see a tree. Okay, so no finished work yet. All right. There we go. All right, so at this point, we want to see a tree, we want to see some shape. We want to know where everybody's going. Okay, so let's get a little closer for a minute so you can kind of see where these trees are going. And again, if my trees or your trees don't look exactly alike or they don't look like what you're seeing in your picture, do not worry about it, baby. Okay, let's get this guy right up here and let them branch off. Let them branch. Okay, this guy is going up here. It's going to branch off this way. So if you're kind of, not exactly following the handout anymore, let that kind of be okay, if you will. I'm going to make this tree a little thicker right here because it has a lot of, the reason I'm thickening it is it has a lot of branches coming off of it over here. And I'm thinking that some of them actually could be a little thicker. So this is like a little knot in the tree. Give me one of these. Okay, let's have it coming off of here. Let's have this connect over here. I can connect over there. Okay, so really kind of building on this tree. I'm going to have another branch that comes off of here, which is definitely not in the handout. I just don't like how long that is. Okay, with no connection. So let's put just some little nubs and knobs and stuff in there. And start adding the brown a little at the time. I like to put a little orange in my browns. I don't like a straight, I like to have a little color in there. And I mean, obviously, brown is a color. However, I like to give it a little bit more body. Okay, there we go. All right, and I'll show you what that looks like with the orange in it. Just kind of warms it up a little bit, and you can get, if you get too warm in there, just add a little bit of daka to it, and you're good. Okay, so little nibby nabby things going on here. Okay, so we want to start to build our trees here a little bit. Add some paint to them. Okay, and I actually going to end up switching to my detail brush. If you do not have a detail brush, you will, if you've seen some other tutorials, note that I if I need to, and I have done this, get a detail brush, will take a brush that I don't need anymore, I don't use a lot, and I cut off most of the hairs until there's just a couple of hairs left, and that gives me a very fine detail line to make really small detailed twigs and lines, and obviously we use them for more than just trees, but that, for this picture, you'll use it for your trees. Okay, so let's get, there's another one that comes off here like this. Okay, it comes like this, and actually comes right behind this little guy over here and up this way. Okay, so have fun with these for sure. Okay, there's a few more up here that are coming off of here like this and like this. And we're going to do too much up here because after excusez-moi, after I put all those leaves, which are kind of on the bluish side there, and they're kind of really pretty blue. But after I do that, I'm actually going to put some of these twigs and stuff back in here. Okay, so think of switch. Wait a minute, let me see where this is going. How high are you? Okay, I want to stop this tree like right here. So let's do this. Let it come off of the, off the side of our picture. Let's put this one behind here. And then another little twiggy thing going on here. I'm going to thicken this one, okay, right where it kind of meets the tree. The branch meets the tree, okay. Let's go a little bit here. This, again, change a bit of orange in here. Reds look cool in here. I could even put a little bit of yellow going on here. Makes a really, really cool tree. Okay, so I'm going to put that in my water, have some hot cocoa, which is actually no longer hot cocoa. Okay, so I'm going to take a clean brush, and this moon is relatively dry now. Okay, so that's what it looks like, and that's what we want it to look like, or at least close to that. So I'm actually going to take my other palette, I'm going to put some of the yellow here, and then with some clean water, I'm going to water it down a little bit, and let's see what this looks like. Okay, so maybe a little too yellowy. So let's add some white to it. Let's add a little bit of orange to it. And again, let's water it down and mucho better. Okay, so just tinting my moon here. Okay, I'm gonna take my brush and dry it off really kind of good. And then with a feather touch here, I'm just going to blend in that tint, that little tint we just did to that. Okay, let's get a little tint. So that really kind of ties in everything we put on there. Okay, picking up a teensy bit of white. Like I said, the paint dries relatively fast. So this white paint, some of it is pretty dry. Just bring back a little bit of highlight here. We want some highlights on our moon. Okay, is that right? Okay, and on the really dark parts, okay, let's pull some of the tint off so we get our dark parts back in here. There we go. There we go. Just want to get some back in, not a lot, not a lot. We want to keep our the tint. Okay, let's stay with that for a bit. There we go. There we go. Let's get a little bit of yellow. Right into here. Nice. Okay. So let's let that rest and percolate a little bit more here. All right, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Okay. All right, so let's once again kind of let that sit here. That's it. That looks better. Okay, so I'm going to take my detail brush, and again, it's a brush that you can take most of. If you don't have a detail brush, if you didn't actually buy one, you could actually get like an. It's actually supposed to be for decorating your nails. It's a very fine brush. Okay, so again, you can make them by cutting off most of the hairs of a brush that you don't use really, really often. Okay, so my tree, I am going to use this really small detail brush, and I think I'm going to have to stand up here, okay, and actually put in some of these fine lines. Okay, let's see if we can get even closer, closer, closer for you. See that?
unfortunately, I also need it to face me. Okay, so these fine lines, okay, you want to make sure that you actually have enough paint on your brush. You don't want them to get, you don't want them to look granulated, or what's the word I'm trying to say here? You don't want them to look sketchy, I guess. It's a good word. You want some nice crispy lines. Okay, so those are pretty cool lines here. Let's get these guys over here. And if you noticed that I am no longer looking at my handout, you would be absolutely correct because I have the general direction and shape of my trees. So I'm just going to kind of wing it from here. All right. And like I said, after I get all these beautiful blue leaves that are on here, all these beautiful blue leaves, I'm actually going to put some of these right back in again. Okay. Okay. Right. So I keep kind of thinning out the paint bit. And this comes out this way, like this. Voila. Right. And I know you can't really see this part really good, but can you see that those in there? I actually maybe can add a little bit of white to them so that you can see them. Okay, so you do not need to add white to them. I'm just putting white on them so you can see the direction that they're going in. Can you see all that cool stuff? Okay, awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and I was gonna say let's go ahead and put those leaves on, but there's some little bit of shrubbery going on down here too. While we have our detail brush out, we may as well take care of that as well. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the easel like that. And this one I'm going to sit for because I really need to rest my hand on my hand like this. And right up beside this tree, is it in front of it? Not quite. Kind of comes up this way, a little bit thicker at the bottom, like that. And comes all the way up here, almost up to my water line, actually. Okay, and it has a bunch of little twig things happening off of it, right? There's another little guy that comes up this way. Okay, so I am kind of using the handout for direction, right? And we talked a little bit about this in some of the other tutorials, but it's worth maybe mentioning again that this and a lot of the other tutorials are pictures that I saw online that kind of caught my eye, and I look at them to see, how the level of difficulty. Now, if you're an art student, that's probably not as much of an issue. But if you're someone who has not painted before and you're
just kind of want to try it, you're stuck inside still from the pandemic or whatever it might be. Okay, so these pictures are relatively easy to do. And I say relatively because each one actually has a different level of complexity to it, but most of them are just basic shapes, okay, circles, cylinders, V shapes, and whatnot. So they're relatively simple to do. Um, my point is that it's not an original piece of artwork. So if you're using someone else's artwork, like you see this online, say, "Oh my God, that's gorgeous! I want to try that." Go ahead and try it, and it's imitation is the best form of flattery. However, if you think that you really like this, you're going to mass produce it and sell it for zillions of dollars and start making lots and lots of money from this, then you would be in deep yogurt, all right, because it's actually someone else's artwork or someone else's concept anyway. Okay, so if you're doing them for yourself to kind of play around, to just practice, or maybe you like a certain technique or look, and so you decide, like, oh, I'm going to try that. Right, that's one thing, and it's very cool, and it's absolutely okay. But if you're going to try to make money from it, like you're going to put it on a T-shirt, you're going to mass produce it, not a good idea. Okay, as I'm talking to you, I'm seeing, oh, okay, I'll put some more here. All right, so bear in mind that, sometimes, you might finish a piece and go, oh my God, this looks totally awesome. I'm so happy at myself, all right? And that's exactly the way it should be. And you can run around and show it to people and do all of that good stuff. But again, you must remember that you're not going to make money from it or try to make money from it because it's someone else's concept. Okay, I want to come out here like this and let some of these branches reach way the heck over here. All right. Mhm. And we have some that I want to bring way down here. Okay, so keep your paint loose, right? A way, if you see something you like, a way to kind of make it unique, like if you say, oh my gosh, I really, really like this picture. I like the technique, blah, 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 so on and so forth. What you could do to make any picture truly unique, and don't quote me on this, I have read that it needs to have at least three significant changes in it. Okay, by that I mean if I had put a double moon in here, or maybe some moons around here. If I made the moon smaller, bigger, put it somewhere else, or raise the water line, put another tree over here. If I had made like at least three significant changes, then it can be considered a unique piece. And that's why sometimes you'll look at some artwork and it might remind you of someone else's artwork, and maybe they were even inspired by someone else's artwork, which again is okay to be inspired. Okay. So for students who are getting their ideas from other artists and whatnot, I'll tell them if you're really going to exhibit it or have it judged or put it in a show, make the rule I believe is make at least three significant changes. I tell them go ahead and try to make five significant changes. That way you're really kind of covered there. Um, the other thing you can do is if you really like something and you do want to put on a t-shirt and sell them or whatnot, they have permission from the artist, certainly, which is probably going to be a no, or at least still a percentage. But you want to, you want to be able to live with what you see in the mirror. Don't steal someone else's work is, I guess, the bottom line. So this is fine. All right? I really like it. I have been wanting to do it, but it's again, it's someone else's idea. And I didn't make any really significant changes to it at all. All right, so fun to do is a wine paint or something cool on that idea. But and someone comes along and says, "Hey, I like that. Can I buy it?" You can say, "Yeah," and you can tell them, it's something I saw online, so on and so forth. But again, you can't mass produce and try to. I didn't give you the message. Anywho, okay, so let us move on to the leaves. Okay, so for the leaves, we're going to use the blue, and I'm thinking, like I said, the paint dries relatively fast, so I am going to put out a little bit more blue for these leaves. I'm going to say, you can use a medium-sized brush and a small brush. You could even use a large brush if you wanted to. I'm going to try a small one first and see what happens. Okay, so like I said, this blue is relatively light. So I am going to, I have some blue on this, and my white probably is pretty dry as well. So I need to get out a little bit more white too, I think. But just as a little experiment, let's try this and put on maybe some of these bottom leaves. And I am just truly just going to dab these on, I think. Okay, so, and I'm going to kind of dab them on in like little clusters. See what they look like, and that's actually pretty cool down there. Okay, I'm gonna put some in over a tree a little bit. All right, and even some on the other side here. Right? And there's other colors down there as well. There's some of the oranges and yellows, and it's a good idea to put them in because it ties it in with the rest of the colors in through here. Okay, so I'm kind of liking what's going on there. So having done that, I'm going to pick up a little bit more of this blue, look over here, see what I want to do with it. All right, so a little dab will do us here and there. Okay, and I think I'll switch to a bigger brush here after I have my cocoa. And I also think I'll get some clean white out here because the white on my dish is relatively dry. All of this paint, unfortunately, like I said, it's dried around the edges. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, let's put you back in here. And after class is done, we'll clean that. All right, so maybe what I'll do, this little guy over here is take some of the blue that I mixed and see what this looks like if I just kind of this on here. Oh, not too shabby, not too shabby. I can get a lot of little, so this is kind of like I have seen trees that are beautiful colors, certainly, but I'm not sure about these particular colors. Okay, so these are just kind of dabbled or dotted on here, right? So I want them to look like leafy shapes, if you will. Okay, so let me
get in a little closer and just kind of show you what I'm doing, which was pretty much just dabbing here. So I think that I will go with a little bit of a bigger brush. But I have to say, I do like the effect I'm getting with the smaller brush. So put that away for now and get a small brush. And once again, clean off your brushes. I just don't want to take the time away from the video to do that. Okay, so I have some fresh paint out here, and I'm mixing the color blue that I want. I'm not mixing it totally. I think I want to leave some white, a little bit of white going on in there. So let's see what that looks like here. I want to just kind of dab around here, around here, kind of neat. Okay. Okay, can you see all that good stuff going on over there? Okay, so some of it I want to be a little bit bluer. So I just dabbed into the darker blue. And like I said, I did not mix totally the blue and the white, so it's coming out relatively uneven, which is kind of cool. So I have some darks, I have some lights. So needless to say, this is going to take you some time to do. So be patient, please. Okay, be patient. Yeah. Okay, so take your time, be patient. Okay, so let's try a Q-tip here. I'm going to dip the Q-tip right in here in my blue. And with this Q-tip, besides just kind of dabbing on here, you can actually pull a little bit as well. Okay, and dipping into this white and blue here. So I'm getting kind of a middle color. Okay, so I'm getting blues and whites here. And actually going to, I was going to say, let me try the other side and drag it a little bit, but drag with the same side you're dabbing with. And this will give you some good leafy look too. Okay, so this looks really kind of cool here. So continue. And like I said, be patient because this is going to take, so it'll take a while, but it looks so cool. You'll totally think it's worth it. Okay, so some of this I'm going to pull and swirl a little bit. Okay, so be a little bit inventive in here. Okay, so it's kind of cool. You can use your brush as well for these. I think I'm actually going to do a little pulling here because I'm looking here and there's some kind of little thin things going on over here. And like I say, kind of vary. Right, I'm gonna take some of the dark blue here, pull this out a little bit. I like the way these kind of hang off of the
off of the branches here. So I'm going to pull them a little bit. A little dab will do it. Okay, I'm going to take a kind of bigger brush here. And again, dabbing. Right, so we want some different shapes in through here. Okay, so my feeling is I want a big brush and I'd like to dab some big areas in here and then maybe dab some of the smaller ones afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up my white, pick up some blue, and I'm going to have this really light blue here. Okay, blue and white, because again, I'm not really mixing really well. And I like these little dotted areas, but see, I had a feeling that this is what I needed here. Okay, so sometimes you want to follow those feelings. All right, let's get some. And I'm thinking, you know, do do some groupings here. And again, after it's dry, we can kind of put some of the branch work back in. But I'm really kind of liking this. I like the groups. I like how full. I guess that's what it is. I want the fullness here. So there's a lot going on back here. That's better. That's better, Joni. I don't know. I don't know if I can get you to see this, but people get swept out by my trash barrel. Let's see. Let's see it. Um, Open can. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah, let's go more this way. This way. All right. So look over in that direction. It's a voice activated trash can. Open can. See it? It's open. It's right there. Close can. All right. He's also motion activated. So if you got close enough to it, it also would open up. So the kids were funny as anything because when I first got the can, I said to them, look, I said, we have a new trash can. I said, that will be good to use because we can use it when our hands are full and we won't have to get paint all over the place. And so I said to them, you know, you can walk up to it certainly. I said, but you can also say, open can, and it'll open up. And you can say, close can, and it'll close. All right. So I can remember the first time one of them was using it, she kind of walked up to it and she said, could you please open up, Mr. Can? And of course, it did absolutely nothing. So I cracked up laughing and I said to her, well, I said, you might need to be a little bit more assertive. Well, what does that mean? I said, it means say it a little stronger, like open can. And so she tried that and then she said, oh my God, it works. And I said, yep. I said, now just say close can. I said, and it will. She goes, thank you, can, which I thought was so very cute. So she got it to open and close. We were happy. Okay, I'm putting some more of this kind of whitish down here, these little kind of spots, flowers, and there's some, like I said, kind of over the tree itself. So there is there is some green in here as well. There's some greenery. I'm going to put in a little bit more of this over here, reaching out over there. Let's see, let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go in front of this tree. All right, so I'm really, really liking this, this blue. Okay, so I'm going to fill these areas, I think, which is pretty cool. Take and do some darker here. Let me see, where else do I want this to kind of go? Right. This looks truly awesome over the dark stuff. Okay, so let's take some of our blue and mix it with some of our yellow here. And we get a nice green color because there's some awesome green going on in here as well. So let's put that in. Okay. This looks very cool. All right, let's get a little closer look for you. Let's see how close we can get. I think this worked out best last time. Okay, so I think what really works out good here is kind of grouping grouping the paint. I'm going to stand up here for a second. Get a little bit of darker going on over here. Some over here. And we kind of get less and less as they're coming down this way. But I still like the colors in here. And I just want them to kind of hang a little bit more over here. Okay, and they kind of get lost up in here, which is A-okay. Let's get some more over here. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit more of the green because there's a lot of green kind of in here, even a little bit coming on over here. Okay, and above all, you should like what you see here. Okay, when you're doing your picture, you should like what you're seeing. Okay, so I'm going to put some more green up there. Liking it. I like it when it's nice and full. Okay, so I might have even more of blue than what is showing up here, but I am definitely liking it. Okay, liking the green in here. Okay, put that green in there, blue in here. Okay, nicer. Yeah, a little yellow going up in here. Okay. So while I have this little bit of yellow out here, I'm going to go back down here and add a little bit of yellow to my shrubs. And maybe a teensy bit of white, especially a little bit right in through here and here. Okay, let's get a little bit going on over here. Is that right? Let's take a look, see what we see. All right, I am totally loving that. Put this in the water. And we're just about finished here and just in time because my hot cocoa is almost gone. Let's go back over here so I can see you. Hi. Okay, we are done. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. Let me see if I can hold them both up at the same time without getting them on the computer. or and still be able to see them. Okay, so this is it. Let me put it on me. How's this? Okay, and this is this one. This one. Ta-da. All right, so that's a pretty good likeness. So if you liked the handout and you're happy with your artwork, then it's a success. This is awesome. Okay. So until next time, my darlings, okay, before we sign off, let me tell you that if you don't already know, my email address is Jonissa, Joan as in Nancy, IS as in Stephen A at Comcast.net, or you can reach me at Intuitive Body and Soul at gmail.com. All right, so you can do that. Text 978-807-7608. So if you have questions about the artwork, mixing the colors, any kind of questions at all, let me know. And also, what I think is totally cool is that some of you are taking pictures of your artwork and texting them to me at 978-807-7608. And so I love seeing them. Again, any questions, any comments, absolutely let me know what you like, what you don't like. And we want to always thank it's on my nose. Hopefully it's paint and not another pimple. No, I don't get those anymore. All right. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we want to thank Miss Bethany because this whole series was her idea and it's extremely cool. And it was to really help people as they're getting through the pandemic, all that good stuff, which hopefully we're kind of at the end of. The staff is uh, holding office at the Drake Public Library on Arlington Street in Drake, while the Council on Aging building on Mammoth Street is being renovated. So it's going to be really awesomely cool when it's done. It's not done yet. So the staff is at the library and all the activities are being held at Christ Church United,
10 Arlington Street in Dracut, Mass. So that's where the activities are being held while our building is being beautified. And we're also doing art classes there every Friday from 11 a.m. until 12:30. So what I call an open class, which means that everyone bringing in their own supplies, but they're working on whatever they want to. Some people are doing landscapes, some are doing seascapes, portraiture, and all kinds of mediums, watercolors, oils, acrylics, certainly, colored pencils. So any medium at all, any kind of subject matter that you'd like to work on, we can help you get there. Okay, so so absolutely give me a call if you need more information. Um, we're going to try and schedule some fun and paints there as well, because we're all kind of using the same room. Scheduling can get a little bit tricky sometimes, but I have a feeling they'll let us do that. We're a fun group. Okay, so once again, thank you, Bethany. Thank you to the Drake Cultural Council and the Friends of the Drake Elderly for making these tutorials possible. We thank you all, and as I started to say before, until I see you again, everybody be legendary.